So we're taking a look right now at how to conjugate verbs. So when I say a verb, what we always start with is this right here, caminar. And in Spanish, verbs end in three things. They either end in AR, ER, or IR. So far for us, we've only looked at AR verbs, but next chapter, we're going to look at ER and IR. That is the equivalent in English of saying to walk. Now, I can't say, for example, I to walk to the store. That makes no sense. We have to conjugate the verb, and conjugating it means we change the verb so it agrees with whoever is doing the action. So I walk to the store. He walks to the store. In English, many of the conjugations don't change that much. One that does is to be. I am, you are, he or she is, right? So that's kind of similar to, we don't say I to be happy. We have to say I am happy. That's conjugating a verb. So we have to do the same thing in Spanish. So what we do to conjugate the verb is the very first thing we do is we're going to cross off the ending, which is that AR part. And what we're left is called the stem, which is camin in this part. We can't just leave it like that. We have to add something to it, which is why we go down here and we add the proper ending. So with AR verbs, you're going to add these endings. I'm just writing them out. You're going to add one of these endings. So if it's yo, it would be yo camino. Tú caminas. Nosotros caminamos. So one thing to pay attention to is when you're trying to figure out who to conjugate it for, sometimes it's really easy. Yo, that's pretty easy, right? It will always say yo. Tú will always say tú. Vosotros will always say vosotros. The others can be a little bit trickier. So sometimes with these forms down here, I'm going to highlight those. It'll say él, ella, or usted, but sometimes it might say la estudiante. And over here it might say las estudiantes. So what you have to decide, if it doesn't fit into this pattern where it says yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, etc. If you have something that you're like, I really don't know what to do with that, what you're going to decide first is it singular or is it plural, right? If it's singular, you're going to go down to this side and decide which of these it fits. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I don't want to start re-recording this. So if it's singular, la estudiante is singular, it's probably going to be that form there. If it's plural, you go over here and it'll be las estudiantes, usually if it's plural. The other one that sometimes gives us trouble, and we've gone over this many times in class, is nosotros. So sometimes it'll just say nosotros, but it may also say María y yo. Y yo. So we see Maria y yo, we know it's at least two people, so it can't be over here. It can't be singular, right? So it can't be here. It can't be singular. So we've got to go over to this side, and we're involved in that. So it's got to be the nosotros form. So on a basic level, that's how to conjugate verbs. It's going to get a little more complex when we get to chapter 3, so we got to nail this down now. Thank you for watching.